I want to just give you, for those of you who don't know my background, I want to give you a little idea. I was born and raised as a Muslim in Cairo, Egypt. I grew up in the Gaza Strip. I was a child in the 50s, and my father headed the Egyptian military intelligence in Gaza. And Egypt at that time, the mission of Egypt was to destroy Israel. Gamal Abdel Nasser was the president of Egypt, and I was a kid, and I remember the speeches. He would bang on the podium and say, "We're gonna throw the Jews in the sea." And I remember that. I went to Gaza elementary schools where I learned hatred, vengeance, and retaliation. Peace was never an option. We never talked about peace. In the Arab world, when you go to school, any Arab kid, not just me, all we talk about is jihad. We don't talk about peace. And that is not a coincidence, by the way. If you open the Quran itself, it's all about jihad. So the culture was influenced by the Quran. The word peace was mentioned one time only in the Holy Book of Islam, one time only. And guess what did it say? Why ask for peace when you're on top? Meaning, why seek peace if you're strong? So this is the only value for peace in the Holy Book of Islam. And guess what? Did they ever talk about peace in political speeches in the Middle East? Does the media ever write articles about peace and how to accomplish peace? Do you think when the Arab League meets together, all these Arab countries talk to each other about how do we have peace with Israel? No. Do you think when I was in school they talked about peace? No. Actually, if you speak about peace with Israel, you're a traitor. It's exactly the opposite value system of the West. Totally. Just imagine all what you think is good and moral and valuable to believe in. It's exactly the opposite in the Muslim world. You are commanded to believe in the 10 Commandments. The Judeo-Christian culture believes in the 10 Commandments. In the Islamic culture, we have you have a covenant to follow the 10 Commandments, as much as you can, of course. You're not perfect, but that's your aspiration. That's your measure. That's your measure. In Islam, we have a covenant with Allah to kill Allah's enemy. If you are a Muslim, your number one duty towards your Allah is to kill the enemies of Allah. And the enemies of Allah under Islam is whole groups of people. Jews, non-Muslims, Christians, pagans, anybody who doesn't believe in Allah. And you wonder why 9/11 happened? Because this is what they're supposed to do. So there is a misunderstanding by the West. The West doesn't understand that you are dealing with a value system that's totally opposite to your value system. Your number one duty is to make this world a better place, right? Yeah. Take care of your children, spread as much love, compassion around you as much as you want. On the other side, no, your mission is completely different. Forgiveness is not included in the value system of Islam. Forgiveness is something so essential for your value system. It's not in my culture. You cannot forgive the enemies of Allah. I was invited by Al Arabiya TV network, an interview about me having a website called Arabs for Israel. The first question, of course, the guy was talking to me on on the show with disgust. You are, betrayed your father, because my father fought Israel. He killed a lot of Israelis, these people. And they killed some of his guys too. And they told me, how could you forgive the Jews? They killed your father. And my answer was forgiveness. How about the concept of forgiveness? He couldn't understand what I'm talking about. He immediately called me a traitor. And I have dishonored my father just for the idea of forgiveness. See, forgiveness is a value. You go to any synagogue, any church, you hear the word forgiveness as something good, something to aspire for. In my culture of origin, it's exactly the opposite. It means treason. Treason to your people. And that's why my whole family in Egypt, many of them don't talk to me anymore, because I am on the side of America, on the side of Israel. So I lived in the Middle East for 30 years. Like I said, in oppressive dictatorships and police states. I couldn't wait to get out, especially in the 70s when radical Islam started spreading. So at the end of the 70s, I moved to America in 79, 78, 79. And that's when I started realizing the truth. I started having women friends at work. And I discovered many of the women that I befriended were actually Jewish. And I said, I noticed that we're so much alike. We have such, I feel attraction in the culture. And I started wanting to know more about them. I didn't withdraw. I wanted to know more. And maybe that is the good step that I did. I went to a synagogue with one of them. I went to a church with a Christian friend. And when I entered the synagogue, I said to myself, oh, okay, we're going to start hearing cursing of Muslims. Like in the mosque, we hear cursing of Jews and Christians. Are you aware that in mosque services all across the Middle East, the service always ends with cursing of non-Muslims? The sheikh, the Muslim sheikh, would say, may God destroy the Jews and the infidels, the enemies of Allah. This is the ending of this spiritual experience of being in a mosque. And I was stunned that in the synagogue, they were praying for the whole world. Peace on earth. I left that day and I was like, something is wrong with my religion. Something is major wrong with my religion. I discovered that it's my religion that's cursing everybody and nobody's cursing us. It was an eye-opener for me. And I started wanting to know more. And the more I learned, the more I was discovering that, oh my God, the indoctrination I grew up with, the hatred I grew up with, was all a lie. It was all a propaganda. And I wanted to know why. Why does my religion hate Jews so much? And I discovered why. It goes back to the 7th century. When Muhammad came to the Arabian Peninsula, and I want to just talk from my... In the 7th century, Arabia, the Arabian Peninsula, which produced Islam, was a desert culture. a poor culture. The Middle East didn't care about Arabia. The great civilizations of the area were all around the Mediterranean, Persia, Egypt. These were where the civilizations were. The area of Turkey at that time. They had great rivers, they had great civilization. Arabia was, nobody thought about Arabia. And Judaism and Christianity started penetrating the Arabian Peninsula. At that time, the Arabian Peninsula had a very violent culture. Women were treated like property. Men married as much as their money allows them to marry. It was warring tribes. Each tribe had its own area, and your human rights were limited to your tribe. If you're outside of your tribe, you have no human rights. So your human rights is limited within your own people. And that's why, if you remember the movie Lawrence of Arabia, at the very beginning, Omar Sharif saw a man from another tribe come to his well to drink, and he shot him right away. Because this is how they handle their each other. A man from another tribe cannot come to your tribe to drink without permission. And this is how they settle their problems. There comes into Arabia in the 7th century a new culture called Judaism and Christianity, the Bible, telling the people of Arabia that you have to treat your neighbor like you treat yourself. Totally alien, a concept that's totally alien to the Arabian Peninsula. The Christians were saying, give them the other cheek. What? If I give them the other cheek, they'll slaughter me. They'll behead me. That's how they punish each other, beheading. One man, one woman. Christianity, one man, one woman. And Judaism changed and became one man, one woman also. And that shocked this culture where women were property. The Arabian Peninsula culture, women were property, just like animals were property. So for Arabia to accept Judaism and Christianity, it had required total change, total cultural change. They didn't want to change. They did not want to become like those infidels from foreign lands. They were proud Arabs. They don't want to change. They should change. The Jews should change and be like us. The Christians should change and be like us. These are the well-known Arab pride. So Islam came as a reaction against Judaism and Christianity. The reason Islam came to being is a reaction to repel Judaism and Christianity. And that's why 64% of the Quran is all about cursing Jews and Christians and non-Muslims, non-believers. Islam came to existence to assert the Arabian Peninsula culture, to make the Arabian Peninsula culture superior and to legitimize it against the coming infiltration of Judaism and Christianity. It's so obvious. If you read the Quran, it's all about this. It's all about comparing itself with Judaism and Christianity and finding them at fault, finding them bad. This is a very negative kind of value system because a religion usually comes with new ideas. Okay, this is what I believe in, this is what I want my followers to do, and this is A, B, C, D, and E, and this is what I want to do. Islam is not like that. Islam doesn't want to talk to its people. It's talking about their enemies. Islam is consumed with its enemies. It doesn't talk to the hearts and minds of Muslim people that much. If you read the Quran, it's all about how Muslims must reject, hate, repel, and even kill non-Muslims. This is the basic value system in Islam. And the only way Allah, in Islam, the only way Allah will reward you with heaven is if you kill the enemies of Allah. In Islam, God, the God of Islam, needs his followers to kill his enemies. The God of Islam needs to venge by using Muslims, his followers, to kill the enemies of Allah, because Allah is incapable of handling his own enemies. And that's why in 9/11 they flew airplanes into buildings. You would think that by the 21st century, people will figure it out that you don't need to be a psychologist or a professional psychoanalyst to understand that Islam is a negative ideology. It's a rejection against people that they don't like. It's a way to control other people. The values of Islam is all about control. Controlling women, controlling the citizens, what they do, how they eat, how they walk, how they talk, everything. Women, cover yourself or else you're asking for it. This is the value system in Islam. And it's exactly the opposite of the Judeo-Christian value system. For instance, in Christianity, they say we're all sinners, right? We're all sinners. Hallelujah, you know? Let's repent together. In Islam, they are all sinners. It's not we're all sinners, they are all sinners. We are Muslims. And you know, if you notice the Jewish religion and the Christian religion, there's a lot of self-criticism in it. There is a lot of taking responsibility for your sins. And your value system thinks this is something good because you take responsibility for your mistakes. And this actually produces a healthier society. In Islam, when they see in the Bible self-criticism, they don't appreciate you for it and think you're doing a good job in making yourself a better person. No, they say, see, we told you they're bad. They even say they are bad. They say they are sinners. That's how they interpret your criticism, your self-criticism. And the reason there is animosity that is produced, why do we have an Arab-Israeli conflict? Muhammad, when he started his religion to preserve Arabian Peninsula culture, he wanted to preserve this culture. Don't change me. Don't come to tell me you love your neighbor like yourself. Don't come to tell me I'm going to have one wife only. Muhammad had 11 wives, and one of them was 6 years old when he married her. And he consummated the marriage when she was 9. And he had concubines. When he fought people in the war, he took the women as sexual slaves. So who are you to tell me that this is not fair or not good? Your religion is the bad one. I am the good one. This is where the split happens. And then Muhammad moved from Mecca when his own tribe didn't like him. His own Arab tribe didn't want to convert to Islam. He moved to Medina, which was a Jewish tribe. 3 tribes lived in Medina, all Jewish tribe. He moved there thinking he was telling his people in Mecca, I'm going to convert them. You didn't want me. Look, the Jews are going to convert. You'll see. So he moves to Medina, thinking that the Jews will follow him, and he'll make a good example to his own Arab tribe. And from Medina, he started attacking the trade caravans from Mecca, Arabs who were doing trade with Syria. Muhammad actually stood in the route of the caravans and attacked them, and he called them holy battles. Holy battles. In Islam, all of the documented battles of Muhammad were called holy battles against the enemies, the unbelievers. And he took the women as sexual slaves after the battle. And he took the caravans were using trade. He took the goodies. And this is a quote by Muhammad, by the way. And I'm quoting from Islamic books, not from my opinion. Muhammad said, I have been victorious through terror. The word terror is mentioned many times in the Quran. It's in the Quran. And he is proud of it as a way of becoming victorious and wealthy. And then the Jews started feeling scared. Look what this guy who came to live with us, he's killing his own people. They started getting scared, and rightfully so. So what happened? Muhammad started looking bad. What kind of prophet of Allah kills his own tribes to take their goodies? He started looking bad, and the Jewish people refused to convert to Islam. So he flipped. At the beginning, he called them nice names. You're going to be the people of the book, you know. But when they didn't convert, he flipped completely. He expelled many of them. He wanted to kill them. There was a rabbi who pretended to convert to Islam in order to convince him not to kill them. This is all written in Islamic books, by the way. This is not written in Hebrew books. This is written in Islamic books. And then the books, Muslim books, describe what Muhammad did to the last Jewish tribe. He surrounded them until they were starving. He started digging trenches. And what did he do? He took all the men over puberty age, like over 12, and spent 2 days. The Prophet of Islam spent 2 days beheading them. And you wonder why they're beheading people now? The Muslims are beheading people on the internet, and they are proud. Allahu Akbar. He beheaded them, and after he beheaded them, he took the women, and he had the first pick. He picked a woman called Safiya, whom he killed her husband, her father, all her male relatives. And he made her his concubine, not a married woman, his sexual slave, until she died in his possession. He, after that, gave all the women to the soldiers and told them, pick your sexual slaves or whatever slaves, take all the children, convert them to Islam by force and make them slaves. After Muhammad did that, even by Arabian Peninsula standards, this was not holy. Even by Arabian Peninsula standards. Some of his soldiers were running away from him. They didn't want to kill the Jews because they lived with them in the same city. And there comes some verses in the Quran that tell the soldiers that ran away, you're going to be cursed, Allah will take you to hell. And he said in the Quran, those who go and kill the Jews will go to heaven. And don't worry, you're not killing them with your hand. It is Allah's hand that is killing them. This is all in the Quran. Muhammad was a tormented man. He had to find a reason for what he did, because even by Arabian Peninsula standard, this was not holy. Thus, the next day in the Quran, a verse came to Muhammad saying, we didn't kill with our hands. It's Allah's hand that killed them. And not only that, he said, and besides, we didn't kill any human beings. Jews are pigs and apes and enemies of Allah. They are descendants of apes and pigs. They are just like the animals that we slaughter to eat. This is how Islam tells Muslims what it feels to kill a Jew. You're not killing with your hand, you're killing with Allah's hand, and that's why they put their hands in the blood and say, yay, Allah's hand. Until today. This is a sick ideology, and nobody wants to talk about it. It's twisted. And this is why when Muhammad died, he, on his deathbed, can you believe it? If Jesus was on his deathbed talking to his followers, or Moses, or any of the great prophets of Judaism, if he's at your deathbed, you'll think that you're going to tell your followers, be better people, do the good things. That's what you expect from a prophet. The last word of Muhammad to his followers was the following: O Muslim, O servant of Allah, go kill the Jews wherever you find them. And if they hide behind a rock or a tree, the rock and the tree will tell you, O Muslim, O servant of Allah, there's a Jew behind me, come and kill him. This is a verse in the Quran. This is a hadith by Muhammad. And it's being recited in every mosque in the Middle East to make Muslims and Arabs feel not guilty if they kill Jews. And not just not guilty, but proud, entitled. And those apes and pigs should not have the right to resist or defend themselves because they're enemies of Allah. This is the philosophy that Europe is catering. This is the philosophy that CNN is catering. And this is the philosophy that half the world is siding with the Palestinians. It's twisted. And this has to be exposed. This pathology has to be exposed. And that is why when Muhammad died, no Muslim could be truly forgive the Jews and just treat them as the rest of humanity. You know why? Because if they forgive the Jews and treat them as the rest of humanity, it means that their prophet was a mass murderer. The prophet was a mass murderer. So it became an existential problem for Islam. It's either Muhammad was a mass murderer or the Jews are apes, pigs, and enemies of Allah. Guess what Islam and Muslims chose? Of course, it was the fault of the Jews. The minute they forgive, the minute they treat the Jews as human beings, is the same day that Islam becomes null and void. It's an existential problem for Islam. And that's why we have an Arab-Israeli conflict. And that's why Arabs, after Muhammad died, expanded, conquered Egypt and Persia in the same year to 639. And they went to Jerusalem 100 years after Muhammad died, they built a mosque on top of the ruins of the Solomon temple, the Jewish temple. Why did they do that? Why didn't they build it next to it and just out of respect for the Jews? Why did, when they went to Egypt, they didn't build a mosque next to churches there? Because Egypt used to be a Christian nation. They converted the churches to mosques because Islam does not want to coexist. Islam wants to replace. It's not like Judaism and Christianity or Catholicism and Mormonism, or it's not like they both have the same building next to each other and say, hello, good morning. No, they want to replace. And that's why they went to Jerusalem thinking they're going to erase the memory of the Jews. Nobody will know that we committed an atrocity, a slaughter, a Holocaust in the 7th century against the Jews by Muhammad. It's an existential problem for Islam. And that's why a lot of people ask me, when are the Arabs going to be, when are Muslims going to realize, and reform their religion? It's impossible. Because the minute they reform their religion and accept the Jews as human beings is the same day that Islam and Muhammad become illegitimate. This is the truth. And that's why Islam, the number one enemy of Islam is the truth. The number one friend of Israel is the truth. The number one thing that the Jews like is the truth, and Christians. We have a cultural problem over truth. And the world doesn't see it. And you see today, I just got an email from a 24-year-old young man in France who was practically crying, writing to me an email. He saw me on a show or something on the internet, and he said, I can't believe he thought I was still a Muslim. A Muslim thinks like you. I said, I'm no longer a Muslim. And he said, in France, I cannot live as a Jew anymore. We are at a period now of world history that's reminding me of the 30s and 40s. We don't know which side is right and which side is wrong. How can we not know which side is right and which side is wrong? It's very simple. The side that's throwing the missiles is the wrong side. The side that doesn't want peace is the wrong side. It's so basic, it's so simple. But the world have bought this Islamic victimhood, this pathology that is confused. And unfortunately, Western media is confusing everybody. I mean, it's an atrocity that we have a media that's spreading falsehood. And there's, you can get the murderer and the family of the murdered person, and CNN will think and talk to the murderer and the family of the murdered person as equal. Which side is right and which side is wrong? We don't know. We don't want to take any side. That's what the media is telling us now, that everything is relative, everything is equal. This is the murderer, this is the family of the kids of the murdered party, and we really don't know who's at fault here. It's unbelievable. What's happening today in Israel is unbelievable. Thank you. And it's very sad that the United States government is not standing for the first time properly with Israel. It's not. And the Arab world is feeling it. It's not. They're not stupid. They're not stupid.
He's Muslim.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what he is, but it doesn't matter what he is. Well, his actions speak clearly that he has empowered Islam worldwide. He has empowered Islam inside America. We are bringing in thousands of immigrants from the Muslim world. And to facilitate the immigration of Muslims, right now, Obama made a new law allowing people who had some kind of link to terrorism, as it's okay, maybe you're the driver of the terrorist group, but you really didn't participate. So we can allow you to come to America. By the way, this is a law that he just passed. Obama is allowing Muslims who had some link, but they were not active, according to him. They were not. How would even he knows if they were active or not active? And he did this law at the time when the Muslim Brotherhood was brought down in Egypt. So many of them are escaping from Egypt. Many of the Muslim Brotherhood, because they were killing people in Egypt, so they turned against them, and they are now escaping. And America is like, okay, come here. We're going to make a law if you was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, but you really didn't do any terrorism, we'll take you. And there's a case right now, a 17-year-old Egyptian who is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood came with a student group